Numbers 14, 22 through 23 says, Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto the fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. 7th, we know not but that a great part of the wicked world is, at this day, in Sodom's circumstances when Lot fled out of it, having some outward temporal destruction hanging over it. It looks as if some great things were coming. The state of things in the world seemed to be ripe for some great revolution. The world has gotten to such a terrible degree of wickedness that it is probable the cry of it has by this time reached up to heaven, and it is hardly probable that God will suffer things to go on, as they do now, much longer. It is likely that God will ere long appear in awful majesty to vindicate his own cause, and then none will be safe that are out of Christ. And now, therefore, everyone should flee for his life, and escape to the mountain, lest he be consumed. We cannot certainly tell what God is about to do, but this we may know, that those who are out of Christ are in a most unsafe state. 8th, to enforce this warning against looking back, let me beseech you to consider the exceeding proneness which there is in the heart to it. The heart of man is a black backsliding heart. There is in the heart a great love and hankering desire after the ease, pleasure, and enjoyments of Sodom, as there was in Lot's wife, by which persons are continually liable to temptations to look back. The heart is so much towards Sodom that it is a difficult thing to keep the eye from turning that way, and the feet from tending thither. When men under convictions are put upon fleeing, it is by mere force. It is because God lays hold on their hands, as he did on Lot's and his wife's, and drags them so far. But the tendency of the heart is to go back to Sodom again. Persons are very prone to backsliding also through discouragement. They are apt to be discouraged. The heart is unsteady, soon tired, soon gives out, is apt to listen to discouraging temptations. And discouragement tends to backsliding. It weakens persons' hands, lies as a dead weight on their hearts, and makes them drag heavily. And if it continue long, it very often issues in security and senselessness. Convictions are often shaken off that way. They begin first to go off with discouragement. Backsliding is a disease that is exceeding secret in its way of working. It is a flattering distemper. It works like a consumption, wherein persons often flatter themselves that they are not worse, but something better, in a hopeful way to recover until a few days before they die. So backsliding commonly comes on gradually, and steals on men insensibly, and they still flatter themselves that they are not backslidden. They plead that they are seeking yet, and they hope they have not lost their convictions. And by the time they find it out, they cannot pretend any longer. They are commonly so far gone that they care not much if they have lost their convictions. And when it comes to that, it is commonly a gone case with persons as to those convictions. Thus they blind themselves and keep themselves insensible of their own disease, and so are not terrified with it, nor awakened to use means for relief until it is past cure. Thus it is that backsliding commonly comes upon persons that have for some time been under any considerable convictions, and afterwards lose them. Let the consideration of this, your danger, excite you to the greatest care and diligence to keep your hearts, and to watchfulness and constant prayer against backsliding. And let it put you upon endeavors to strengthen your resolutions of guarding against everything that tends to the contrary, that you may indeed hold out to the end. For then shall you know, if you follow on to know the Lord. Amen.